Pandora, and today I'm going to talk to you a little about preserving habitats and species within the United States. I'm going to talk to you a little about why it's important, some of the advantages of conservation, some of the effects of not conserving, some of the causes of wildlife to become endangered, as well as the habitats, and what can be done to reduce those effects on our environment with our habitats and species. To begin with, when habitats are threatened, so are the animals that live there in that particular environment. So it's very important that we do take notice to any effects that are detrimental or negative to those. Plants and animals are key staples to us within our ecological society in order for us to sustain life as humans. We're all placed here for a purpose, and in order for our Earth to be successful, we must have those things in place as well. Many plants and species are actually used for medicinal purposes to treat illnesses that may actually affect the humans as well as pets and maybe livestock and things of that nature. So it's very important that we take heed and notice if there is negative effects to the environment, the habitats, nature where animals and things may live, because we also rely on those animals, some of them for food, to feed our families and whatnot. So that's very, very important that we do take heed and take notice to things of that nature. Plants and animals can also be used as study for whether it's college students or grade school students, just so that we can better understand our Earth and how things work in the ecological system and things of that nature, as I mentioned previously. In addition, without our plants, we as humans wouldn't actually be able to survive. We do rely on our plants, as you can see the green fern here behind me, to supply us with our oxygen that we breathe here. So without the plants and being flourishing, things of that nature, we would just really be in bad shape as people. As information that I found on a website for, it's actually called www.defenders.org. They actually informed us that things that can cause some of the detrimental problems with our environment and the habitats, and thus causing major issues with our animals that live there, are the building of roadways that go in through the areas where they live, through their habitats, and just destroy them basically. I mean, it's phenomenal the amount of property that is used just to create one road. So it's very, very negatively affecting the environment there. As well as the building of commercial buildings, even residential buildings. There's lots of housing developments and things of that nature. It's the more of the developmental portion of it. If you're talking houses in large quantities and in more condensed areas, as opposed to areas that are out in the suburbs and the rural areas where you have a house every quarter mile or so, or something like that, where you're not really causing as much detrimental issues with the true environment itself, along with the industries and the commercial businesses and things of that nature, of course, cause major fallout for our animals, as well as cutting down trees and doing away with plants and things of that nature. So basically, another issue is also with agriculture. Most people wouldn't think that agriculture could possibly negatively affect anything with the habitats for animals, or even the animals themselves. So what actually happens, and I have a photograph here to show, this is actually a picture of farmland. And you can see the irrigation lines here with the farmland, and you can even see the sprinkler system they have back here. These lines actually will create ditches, and those ditches actually can cause what's called runoff. The runoff can cause cesspools or stagnated water, and if our animals drink the stagnated water, a lot of times they can become very sick. They can get parasites inside their bodies, which thus can make them die. Not to mention, it can cause lots of erosion around this farmland, thus doing away with a lot of habitat for animals. And these vast farmlands, of course, are definitely taking away some of the forestry that you see back in the background, things of that nature. So it's just important to be very mindful when you're farming, things like that. Also, another thing with farming that can cause a problem is the pesticides that are used on the plants. Those, of course, are poison unless you can get the environmentally friendly or the organic kind, which that's what I would definitely suggest anyone to use, so that we don't, possibly kill or harm our animals as well as the native plants that are around our farms. Another thing that can cause problems is definitely something that we're all familiar with, which is oil spills, whether it's out in the oceans or in the Gulf or even on land. Of course, oil is going to get attached to the animals and insects even that live on land. Obviously, those issues that cause death are definitely present there. It's very difficult to be able to capture wild animals and things, and of course the bugs and insects, you're not going to be able to capture those and clean the oil off of them and preserve those species. So of course that's definitely an opportunity for improvement there, that we can somehow come with a way that those spills maybe won't ever happen again. That's certainly what I hope for. Also, according to another website I found, it's called the National Wildlife Foundation. It's www.nwf.org. Science actually estimate an increase to upwards of 1/3 of the U.S. species are currently at an increased risk of extinction. That's very frightening if you think about that in context. There's already 1,300 plants and species, animals, that are already listed federally as threatened for endangerment. Now that really brings things to light there. I never would have thought that number, but that is astronomical. Just to share with you a little bit, I have some photographs of some of the current listed endangered species. Here we have the red wolf. These are all in North America. Here we have the California condor. And here we have what is called the giant sea bass. In addition to those three, we also have some more sea life here. We have the staghorn coral, as well as the stellar sea lion. This is actually the largest sea lion in the world, and they are all on the endangered species list, which is very sad. There's a very wide array of different animals, and it's just heartbreaking that those animals are currently on the endangered species list. But according to the Wildlife Conservation Society website, which is www.wcs.org, managing wildlife refuges, national forests, and various public lands, even privately owned property, can definitely help with conservation acts, as well as river conservation, tree and forest preservation, sea and shore conservation. And here are just some of the examples. This may depict some of the wildlife refuges here. I understand that is a desert, but there's so much wildlife that live there. And then below that is the redwood forest. That would represent a national forest. The redwoods have been a protected tree for a long time, many years. And down here below, you'll see the waterways and the wetlands that are the rivers and waterways that we need to be mindful. Our fowl, along with our fish, things of that nature, live in these habitats. So it's very important to keep them all healthy, so that our animals can manage to survive in these habitats. And as a result of some of these websites that I have mentioned to you, there are some vast improvements that have taken place over the years. Some of these are, I've got pictures here that's going to show some of the animals that have actually managed to come off of the endangered species list. These were actually once on the list, but are no longer on the list, and the list is pretty lengthy, both for endangered as well as those that were on and came off. So this is just three that I chose to share with you. Of course, our American bald eagle. The American bald eagle was endangered for many years. It managed to come off the endangered species list in 2007, so that was one of the more recent. The bottom two are even more recent than that. We have the gray wolf came off in 2011, grizzly bear in 2011 as well. As stated on the website for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which is www.fws.gov, by protecting habitats, we're actually protecting the wildlife that live there. Thank you for your time. Hope to talk to you again soon. Have a good day.